Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, join me, Rob McConnell, as together we'll investigate the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology here on the X-Zone Radio TV show on XZBN and the X-Zone TV channel on Simul TV. Since 1990, the X-Zone Radio TV show has been the place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. Together, we'll investigate UFOs, aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot, psychic phenomenon, lake monsters, conspiracy theories, government cover-ups, the truth embargo, alien abductions, ESP, haunted locations from around the world, and so much more. With over 28 years of broadcasting and more than 4,500 individual guests, the X-Zone is truly a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality, as evidenced by the credibility, integrity, and professionalism of the guests that we bring to our international audience. If you have seen a UFO, had a close encounter, seen a ghost, Bigfoot, lake monster, or a story that you would like to share or have investigated, contact me, Rob McConnell, by sending me your email to xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or you can call toll-free 1-800-610-7035, extension 143, and on Skype, X-Zone Radio TV. For more information on the X-Zone Radio TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, visit www.xzoneradiotv.com or www.xzonetvchannel.com or simultv.com and xzbn.net. Until next we meet here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, always remember, X-Zone Nation, keep your eyes to the sky and your heart in the light.
Welcome to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You, where in a single moment you can recognize your brilliance and change your life. This is a transformational hour that covers an array of topics that demonstrate how individuals use their native talents, as shown in their name, to look at the ordinary in extraordinary ways. Now, Albert Einstein once said that everybody's a genius. Why would one of the smartest people on the planet declare that everyone is a genius unless he knew that to be true? I'm your host, Sharon Lynn Wyeth, creator of Namology Science and author of Know the Name, Know the Person. And in each weekly show, you're going to hear the fascinating ways that other people have discovered the genius in themselves and what they were able to accomplish. At the end of every show, you hear clues on how you can recognize your own innate genius. Now, all over the world, people have many, many diverse interests. And in that vein, people have asked about different occupations, different areas of life that have highly interested them. People want to know how highly successful people have managed to achieve their genius mindset when they utilize the gifts that are seen in their name when we use namology science to find them. So how does someone express their creative talents, and how does someone share those gifts with others in such a way that everybody benefits? Our expert tonight is Deneene Collins. Now, she actually goes by Dee, but I wanted to let you know her formal name because that's the one I'm going to be interpreting later, which is Deneene. And she's developed her genius in the area of success. Everything she touches turns to gold. It's like that fairy tale where they spin straw into gold. That's what she does. She takes whatever is out there and she spins it into success, and she's going to be sharing some of her secrets on how she does that with us tonight. Now, Deneene, or Dee Collins, is the founder of Success Creation Academy, Inc., and the CEO of Collins Consulting, LLC. She's an internet entrepreneur that publishes content with purpose. She has a bachelor's degree in psychology, 2 masters, one in business administration with a focus on online business strategies, and one in graphic information technology. And both have equipped her with the knowledge and skills to uniquely position people for success. She graduated summa cum laude from the Engineering College at ASU and received the Black and African Coalition Awards for the highest graduate student GPA with a cumulative 4.0 GPA. Now, Dee has become a scholarly role model. Now, She dropped out of school in undergraduate to have a baby. Then she went back to school to get her bachelor's and then her 2 masters. Okay. So it's taken her all of, 16 years in between. And I'll tell you, she is just dynamite. I can't wait to bring her on. And really, because her best schooling, even though she's got all this formal schooling, was her school of hard knocks. She's an entrepreneur that wants to help as many people as possible succeed, and she definitely knows how to do it for herself. So, welcome, Dee, to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You radio show.
Well, hello. Thank you so much for having me on today. I'm super excited to be here.
Oh, well, I was just a pleasure when you said yes, because I thought, okay, you're going to have to squeeze us in. So, Dee, what advice do you have for people who really want to be successful, but they're just discouraged because it feels like one failure after another, or that they just don't feel like they're very successful at doing life?
I am so glad you asked me that question because I'm actually an expert in that area, as I have been a repeat failure before I was an actual success. So, the way I look at it is that I believe that failure is a prerequisite to success, and it can be very difficult to keep going. But my number one piece of advice for those who truly yearn in their hearts to be successful but have experienced so much failure, it seems like the success is never going to come, is number one, do not give up. No matter how tempting it is that you just want to throw in the towel, that you just want to quit doing what you're doing and just find something else, do not give up. One of the things that I found, I heard one of my friends, he's a minister in Texas, and he once said, don't give up when your blessing is on the runway. Because you know how sometimes you go, if you travel, you get stuck on the runway, and sometimes you have to wait for your time to take off. It doesn't mean that you're not going to take off. It just means that you're waiting a little bit before you actually take off. So you don't see the planes turn around and taxi and go back to the gate and people get off, but you see them just wait their turn. So hang in there, because no matter how many times you failed, if you refuse to give up, your time to take off will definitely come. So that would be my advice. And also what you put in your ears. Like, this show that you have is absolutely wonderful because it inspires people, it gives them direction, motivates them. And what you put in your ears affects your thoughts. And your thoughts will affect what you say, and what you speak will affect what you do. And then that will affect your outcome. So my number two advice, after don't give up, is to put something positive in your ears. Listen to something every single day that's going to motivate you to keep going.
Excuse me. That's so interesting, Dee, because I have so many people I know have done the same thing. We've turned off all the negativity of the news and of the shows that are saying, oh, we're doomed and gloomed and we're all going to starve to death, or none of us are going to make it, or whatever. It's like, who needs that?
Right. It definitely affects you. It's like, one time I also heard someone say something that I will never forget. They say in life, you can either be the thermostat or the thermometer. Now, a thermometer is going to go up and down with the temperature, but the thermostat dictates what the temperature is in the room. So we want to be thermostats and not thermometers, affected by all of these different things, but we want to affect change. We want to be the change.
See, and I look at that as you're either going to be the problem or you're going to be the solution. Take your pick.
Absolutely. I know which one I want to be. What about you?
you know, well, I think I do my best not to be the problem, but I think we all take our turns, right?
Right. Well, I think we should all do our best to be a part of the solution. And I know that even I've found out over the years that our income is directly related to the types of problems that we're able to solve. So there's a reason why, a janitor might make a certain salary. It's a great job. I'm not saying there's anything against janitors, but a surgeon's going to make a different salary because he's solving a different problem. So let's be a part of the solution that we want to create, and help others while we're doing it.
So if solutions and the kinds of problems we're able to solve helps to determine our income, how do you let people know what kind of problems you're able to solve and able to get, that knowledge out there so that then you can earn that income?
Okay, well, this is very important, and this is something that I have taught for years, and it's about purpose. So one of the things in life, a lot of people may not even realize it, but one of the things that we yearn to do is to identify what our purpose is in life, because we're not just here taking up space. So I looked up the definition of purpose, and Purpose is defined as the reason a thing exists. So, for example, the purpose of a chair is to sit on. The purpose of a car is to take you from point A to point B. So, if you are in existence, it means that you have purpose, because if you didn't have purpose, you wouldn't exist. Now, that's a whole different question or answer from what is your purpose? How do you identify it? You identify it by identifying the things that you notice most. So usually the problem or the thing that infuriates you the most, the thing that you always want to correct or fix or have your hand in, that is a signal to your purpose. What do you notice? A tailor will notice a string hanging off of a suit when no one else will notice. A musician will notice a song or a note that's off tune in a song when nobody else will notice, because that identifies or is a trigger to what their purpose is. So you have to look at, what do you notice? Where does your genius emerge? What do you do better than anybody else? What is your passion?
And I just say it's all there in the name. I can look at a name and I can literally tell you, this is why you're here. Here's your overarching umbrella of why you came. And here's the 7 major lessons to learn. And this is how your name actually says to go about it. So that's kind of like a shortcut. But anyway, Dee, this is the part of the show where we interpret a portion of our guest's name. Are you ready?
I am ready. Ready, set, go.
So your name indicates that you can have clutter around you, whether it's stacks of paper everywhere or at a drawer or in the car, but it's like there has to be some kind of clutter somewhere. And what that does is, for your brain, when you look at the clutter, it's like the key that starts the ignition. And as you start to say, what am I going to do with this clutter? The brain gears up and starts ticking, and then you can use it in any direction you want. But it's almost as if everything's too clean, too neat, too tidy, then you look around and you say, how do I get my brain in gear? I need to look at something messy to get it going. In other words, you need a problem to solve, and clutter helps you start to solve that problem before you start to solve the other problems, to get your brain in gear. It also says in your name that you're highly intuitive, that you're very sensitive to other people's needs. It's like you can hear what's not being said. You can hear what's being said between the lines. Like if you're reading between the lines in the book, but you're hearing between the lines of what somebody's saying to know what's really going on. And because of that, people come to you and they like to tell you all their problems and all their concerns, because they know they're going to get a good answer from you. This is what you can do. Now, one of the challenges in your name is not to then say, this is now our problem, instead of saying, okay, now that we've had this wonderful discussion, what are you going to do next? And that hands it back to them. Because if not, one of the challenges is your name is, how do you not take on other people's problems and concerns, making them your own? So that's just a small sampling of what your name says, but it also says you're a constant learner,
Yes.
and that you can take charge without a problem. Well, we need to take our first break. Stay tuned to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You, which is being heard on xzbn.net and X Zone Broadcast Network, and on the website, knowthename.com. Now, after the break, we're going to find out the first of some of her secrets. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
It's hard to listen to the news without realizing we're living in volatile, unprecedented times. Yet never has there been such an opportunity to transform the human condition. As old structures fail, where can we find the guidance to co-create a better way? Find Your Path Home is an ever-evolving, leading-edge information, education, and healing resource center designed to support and guide you on your path to unity and enlightenment. Based on sound principles employed by shaman worldwide, we provide techniques that can support you through the current transitions, offering online shamanic classes, international long-distance shamanic healing sessions, complimentary Mission Evolution radio episodes and Stairway to Heaven TV vignettes, seminars, retreats, and much more. All of this can be found on findyourpathhome.com.
So I was watching the X Zone TV channel last night when I was abducted by aliens, and they kept repeating to me over and over again, simultv.com, simultv.com.
What's simultv.com?
That's what I asked them. They had it written on the side of their UFO.
How do you spell that?
UFO.
No, I mean simultv.com.
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 Right. simultv.com.
Interesting that you were abducted by aliens in a simultv.com UFO last night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I remember now last night I was awakened from a deep sleep. My great-grandmother was standing there. She said she'd come from the hereafter to tell me about simultv.com. She even spelled it out for me. simultv.com, sonny boy.
simultv.com.
simultv.com, sonny boy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, you'll never guess what my psychic guru just told me.
simultv.com.
Exactly. Are you guys psychic too?
Of course.
We all know about simultv.com. simultv.com.
Welcome back. I'm Sharon Lynn Wyeth, and you're listening to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You, which is being heard on xzbn.net and knowthename.com. Now, our guest tonight is Deneene Collins, who goes by her nickname of Dee, and her website is successcreationacademy.com. Now, I want to give that one to you again, successcreationacademy.com. All right, Deneene. You published your first book, and that was quite a challenge in itself, like it is for anybody who sits down and starts writing with this daunting task of nothing's on a page, yet you want to have a book out. So how are you able to publish your first book?
Oh, my goodness. This is quite an interesting story. It's a long story, but I'm going to try to sum it up since I know we're on a limited amount of time here, but I do want to share some highlights of how I came to publishing my first book. First of all, I have always been a writer. Ever since I was a little child, I grew up out in the suburbs of Cleveland, Ohio, and I used to go down into the basement. My dad had a desk down there I would sit at, and I would write out books by hand and draw illustrations and staple them together, and they would be on notebook paper, and I would have construction paper. So I had my own little publishing company already when I was just a little child. So I used to do this, and I would just write, and I would always write. So as I grew up, my hugest fan in the world was my mom, and she would always say, Dee, you should publish your writings. And I would say, okay, Mom, I'm going to publish. And then time would go on, and I wouldn't have published. And so she would tell me again, Dee, publish. And I didn't publish. And I'd say, Mom, I'm going to. And so one day my mom got so upset with me because I had never done what I said I was going to do. And she said, just give me your writings and I'll publish them for you. And I was like, Mom, just calm down. I promise you, I am going to publish these writings. Well, sadly, my mother contracted pancreatic cancer, and after she was diagnosed and 6 months later, she was gone. And after she passed away, I was completely devastated because not only was she my best friend in the world, but I realized that procrastination is the thief of dreams. And I had waited so long telling her what I was going to do and hadn't done it, that she was gone and I hadn't even published my first book. So that cranked things into gear for me. It really brought reality to me. And so I published, the first thing I published was a 5,000 word article online. And it was about my experience of my mother having cancer. And it was called something like Pancreatic Cancer from Diagnosis to Death, the Diary of a Cancer Patient's Daughter. And so I started getting calls from all over the world at all times of the day and night. And over 30,000 people read this article. And I realized how powerful it is that when we have something or a story to tell, whether it's an experience, whether it's a creative story, whether it's fictional, whether it's inspirational, whatever it may be, that we all have a story to tell and we shouldn't keep it to ourselves because it's going to be a blessing to other people. So after I did the online article, I said, you know what, I need to get the book out. I promised my mom I was going to do this. She won't be able to see it, but she'll be able to see it from heaven, hopefully. So what I began to do, it was interesting in the name analysis when you were saying that I'm a lifetime learner, because I'm always in some type of school, some type of training. I am constantly learning. And so I thought when I went for my master's, I said, well, if I handed in an assignment late, they would, deduct a grade or drop it a grade, or I would get points taken off. And I didn't want that because I wanted to achieve an A. And I said, you know what, if I'm doing this for somebody else, even though I'm getting the degree for me, but if my instructor requires this classwork to be turned in at a certain time, then I ought to be able to do even better for myself than I do for what others demand of me. So I began to demand these things of myself and set a higher standard for myself. And I began to give myself deadlines for publishing, just like you would for a college course assignment. So I would say, okay, I have to be done with this many chapters, or I have to do this, or I have to write this amount a day, or I have to turn this in by this day. And if I don't, I will be penalized. So in my mind, I really believed that. And that caused me to achieve it. So the first book that I published, it was a collection of over 200 original poems. It was called Abstract Poetry for Life. And then I published a book to help people deal with the loss of a loved one. And that book had over 87,000 words in it, believe it or not. And I did it all by setting deadlines and keeping to the standards I set for myself. And it's called Does Heaven Have a Post Office? Letters to My Dearly Departed Mother. And so I share some very special things. But anyone who does want to achieve something like that, or who has ever wanted to publish, I encourage you to start by coming out with a framework and setting deadlines for yourself and setting a higher standard for yourself, and stick to that standard.
That's very fascinating that you say that, because as you're speaking of this, Dee, I'm thinking about my own process of how I do it. And I too graduated with my master's program with a 4.0,
Oh,
whoop,
whoop.
Because it was like, especially in the very last teacher we had in the last two classes, one of those two teachers, he literally said, I will only give 4 A's in this class. And my study buddy and I looked at each other and we both pointed to each other. And, you and me, we're 2 of those A's.
Absolutely.
It was like, we are not ruining our perfect average just because this guy doesn't think more than 4 of us in this group of 30 is going to get that A. And so, and it was really funny because by then everybody knew that we were study buddies and did well. And 2 other people immediately after class came up and said, can we always study with you? We'll be the 4.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Because they knew that, but I wanted to do that because I had gone through college in 3 years and gotten my teaching credential during that same time and worked a part-time job. And so I came out with a B average, and I wanted to prove it to me that I could have gotten an A had I not been so overly busy.
Yes. And so you proved that to yourself.
So I did it for me. And as you were saying, you were doing it for you. And it's like, yes, it makes a difference if you're doing it for you versus somebody else. And then your deadlines for publishing, that's what I do. That's how I've gotten my 3 books done. It's like, no, I do that deadline, even if I'm pulling all-nighters at the end of the deadline that I have created that I could easily move, I'm meeting my deadline.
Right. I can't tell you how many times I've seen the sun come up. And I live in Tucson, Arizona right now, and somebody near me owns a rooster, because one time I was up all night typing, working on this book, and then I heard the rooster, crow, and I was like, oh, it's morning and I'm still up and I'm still working. But I mean, just the adrenaline was just pumping because I was so focused on what I was doing, and that focus is what drives me as well.
Well, don't you realize too that when you get into writing, that time disappears, space disappears, and as long as the phone doesn't go off or somebody doesn't come into your space, that you just keep going because there is no time?
Right. And don't you think that that's another signal also to people's genius and their purpose? When your genius is emerging, it's as if time stands still, because it doesn't matter how much time you spend in it, because you're enjoying it so much and you're in your natural flow. It's so fascinating how you do it, though, with the name interpretation. You were so spot on, let me tell you, with what you were saying about me. And I was kind of cracking up inside because you were talking about the clutter around me. So I'm looking at my desk and I'm like, and I have your card. I have your card in one of the clean spaces of my desk. So I have you sitting here and you're looking at me while I'm talking to you, looking beautiful there on the card. But yeah, I have all these little, it's clutter, but it's all little piles. So it's like organized clutter. And then I have a sticky note addiction. So I have like all these stuff written on like 5,000 sticky notes. And then I have about 70 tabs open on my internet browser. And every time someone looks at my computer, they're like, oh my goodness, how do you get anything done with all of those tabs open? But it's just like part of my process.
Well, and everybody has to do what works for them. I laughed when you said sticky notes because it reminded me of at my first job when I was an administrator at a school, on a high school. I was an academic dean, and we had over 2,000 students and 115 teachers. And I was right under the next in line under the principal. And the principal would come to me every night before we both went home. And he would sit down in my office because it was air conditioned and his wasn't. How do you like that one?
Oh.
And anyway, so it was in that time when they were in the process of air conditioning the school, but mine got done right at the beginning because I had the conference room next to my office where his was later. And he would sit down and he'd go, remind me of that tomorrow. And I would write it on a sticky note and I would put it on his jacket. And one time he walked back into the office and the secretary had to call me and said, my God, we got out the camera. You cannot see his jacket. You have so many sticky notes all over his jacket.
Oh my goodness, that's hilarious.
But it's like if you put what you need to do on a sticky note and you put it on your desk, pretty soon you want the desk space. So you think, what do I have to do to get rid of this sticky note? And what do I have to do to get rid of this one?
Exactly.
You get your stuff done.
I get a lot accomplished on cleanup day. So I'm like, oh, I haven't done that one yet. Okay, do that, cross it off, throw it away.
Right, exactly. It's like, and I love crossing off stuff off a list. Now, you've published multiple books, Dee, and you've helped others publish books. How'd you switch over to helping others publish their books?
Oh, well, when people, because I would actually publish stuff online, and again, the way I got started was I used to publish my poetry online. And so one day I looked up and I had like 500 poems. I had posted 500 poems and I'm like, wow. And so people started saying, where's your book? I would like to get your book. And I was like, well, I don't have a book. But then I realized that I had all this stuff posted online. I was like, well, actually, I do have a book. So I took all that, compiled that, and that's, how I did the first book. But once people saw that I published, then other people started coming forward because I started sharing my books and different things on social media. And they were saying, well, can you help me? And I said, well, I helped myself, so I guess I can help you as well. And what I started showing people how to do was, because one thing that I've learned in life is that you can't wait for anything. I spoke to one person who's a very, very successful business mentor of mine, and he speaks on the stage all over the world. And he said when he first started, no one would give him a stage. And he said what he decided to do was to create his own stage. So when I started, what I decided to do was to become my own publisher. I said, I'm not going to wait for somebody.
Hold that thought for us. Hold that
Yes.
thought on becoming your own publisher, because we need to take another break. Stay tuned to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You, which is heard on xzbn.net, an X Zone Broadcast Network station, and on the website, knowthename.com. Now, this show is dedicated to helping others find the genius in themselves. And after the break, we'll find out more of some of the different ways that Dee has assisted people. Stay tuned.
They are here, and they've been here for thousands of years, making their presence known in the shadows. They might be seen by a lonely motorist on a deserted road late at night, or by a frightened and confused husband in the bedroom he is sharing with his wife. But who are they? What do they want? Why are they here? Perhaps most concerning, has the government been aware of their presence all along? The new book by Ellie Marzulli, UFO Disclosure, the 70-year cover-up exposed, delves into the world of UFOs. Can full disclosure be soon? Order now and receive a free hour and 37-minute DVD on the UFO phenomenon. UFOs are real. Get both the book and the DVD, a $40 value, for only $19.99. To order your book and DVD today, go to lamarzulli.net. That's LAMARZULLI.net. Rob McConnell here, presenting an overview for Nicholas Paul Jennings, author of a fascinating book, Amen. It presents facts revealed by Egyptologists, facts that enable us to understand why Amen is the beginning of creation of God. It provides recommendations for religious leaders of the major religions to unify their beliefs and teach the Word of God. Love one another. Amen informs people how mankind conceived God. It was the Egyptians that developed the concepts of a soul, a hereafter, and Son of God. And finally, after the worship of many gods, they conceived the belief in one universal God, the maker of all there is. For more information, visit www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X Zone, sci-fi, and horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
Welcome back. I'm Sharon Lynn Wyeth, and you're listening to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You. Our guest tonight is Deneene Collins, who goes by Dee, and you can reach her via her website, successcreationacademy.com. Again, that is successcreationacademy.com. Now, Dee, right before the break, you were telling us that you became your own publisher. Go ahead and elaborate on that, because I stopped you in the middle of what you were saying.
Oh, that's quite all right. I tend to ramble on a little bit when I'm talking about something that I'm so passionate about. But what I decided was I wasn't going to wait for a publisher to try to pick me up. I did look into some publishers, but I realized that even if they did pick me up or publish my work, that sometimes it could take up to a year before my book was actually published, and I didn't want to wait that long. So by taking it into my own hands, it just depended on me. How long was it going to take me to complete my project or complete my book? And then I could self-publish it. I could sell it online. I could put it on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, and have my books available to people within a matter of weeks or in a month or in 2 months. So I decided to do that. So I chose the route of self-publishing. And then people started approaching me to help them get their books self-published as well. So I took on some clients in the early days where I would actually do the formatting on their books for them and do the publishing and the distribution. And I've helped several people publish their books successfully who have been very happy. But because so many people have started coming to me who want to publish and don't want to wait to get their books published, I developed an online course which shows people how to do it themselves. So that I guide them through step by step on the online course, show them how to self-publish and get global distribution of their published works as well.
Fabulous. Fabulous. And again, that's off your website, so somebody could find out about that.
Yes, they can schedule a planning or a discovery session with me, and then I meet with them and talk to them about it. And if we come up with an idea that it is a good fit for them, then I make arrangements to put them in one of my courses, and then we proceed from there.
Well, that sounds easy enough to get started. So, Dee, I know that you've enjoyed traveling the world just as I have, and you love to share the brilliance and beauty of your travels with others, where I'm fairly quiet and I don't carry a camera and I don't take pictures with my phone. I always think, it's in my head, it's good enough. So, but you're considered a travel genius with savvy methods to traveling at remarkable destinations at low cost or no cost. Okay, so you developed then a travel platform called mytravelfreelife.com. Talk to us about that one.
Oh, I'm going to love talking to you about this because travel, I love to travel. And yes, I do take a million gazillion pictures. My last cell phone, the storage was full. Like I couldn't even take new pictures. And I was constantly deleting so I could take new pictures and upload them online. And people would ask me all the time, how in the world are you doing this? How are you going to all of these amazing destinations? How do you travel so much? And it's because along the way, I have learned different tips and tricks that have allowed me to travel. I mean, if I told you the prices that I have spent on some of the places that I've gone, you probably would not even believe me. So I thought about, if I love to travel, of course, other people love to travel. I have a daughter, she's 28. She loves to travel. And I've taken her on a lot of trips with me in the past, and we've enjoyed destinations together. So I thought, you know what? There's got to be a way where I can share this with other people so that others can enjoy the world and travel at prices that aren't so expensive that will allow them to see the world. I consider the world our playground. So, and I think we should go as many places as we can and experience different cultures and the beauty of the scenery and just the attraction. So I did create the My Travel freelife.com platform, and it's a discount travel membership. And first off, I'm a woman of my word, so the first thing that people get when they actually enroll in one of the discount travel memberships is I give them a complimentary luxury vacation stay every time somebody enrolls. So right off the bat, I'm like, if you don't have a lot of money to stay at luxury places, don't worry about that. I've got you covered. And then I began to partner with very large travel companies. So I help people get up to 70% off on travel, attractions, theme parks, show tickets, dining. And then I love just giving away free stuff. So I give away free stuff like all the time. And so I give away free vacations and free dining vouchers and anything just to help people enjoy life. And another thing is, and I'm trying to slow down a little bit. I know I get overexcited and I start talking really fast, but if people share it with others, I give them away where I'm not trying to, make a lot of money off of it, but I give the money back to them just for sharing the opportunity and making the world a better place. So I do give very, very handsome referral fees to people.
So, Dee, what is one tip you could give our listeners on how to save money when you're traveling?
Well, one thing I would do is join up for every type of awards program available. So if you're buying airline tickets, sign up for all of the awards programs for the airline that you use. Try to stick with the same airline so that you can build up points on that one particular airline. I do that with Southwest Airlines because I love Southwest. They have inexpensive flights to start out with. And then when they have their specials that come online, you can find amazing, amazing deals. Like I flew to out to Oakland, California from Phoenix, Arizona for $44 on one of their specials that I found. But I build up my points. Bags fly free on Southwest, and then I build up my points so that I can take free trips or have free air travel with the points. Now, if you use like the free air travel, once you build up points on your rewards program and you have a complimentary vacation stay voucher, you can end up going on a phenomenal vacation for almost nothing out of pocket except for what you spend on whatever attractions you go to or what you spend on food while you're there.
I have never heard of complimentary stay vouchers. What are they and how do you get them?
Okay, well, one of the ways that you get them is you get them through my company. Now, like I said, I have the discount travel membership packages, but there's three different packages. And so I allow people to redeem the vacation vouchers when they sign up for the packages. So like if you're with the lowest package, which is only, like $39, you just get one complimentary vacation with that. But I have two other packages. So for people who want more vacations, we have domestic locations within the United States, and then we have international locations. So the way it works is that these luxury properties, if they don't book a hotel room, that room is still there, but they're not making any money off of it. So they figure if we can just get somebody in the room, even if we let them stay at no charge for the room, they might spend money in the spa, they might spend money in the gift shop, they might spend money in the restaurant. So they're still making money that they would not have made, so it won't be a total loss. And I've partnered with these companies, and I get to share this with the people that join us with a travel membership. So the only thing that you're required to pay is like the tax on the room. So to give you a quick example, if you stay 3 days at the Westgate Resort, that's the one we use in Las Vegas, 3 days, the tax on the room is $58. So your total bill for 3 days in Las Vegas is $58 for the tax on the room.
That is just amazing. So give us that website again.
Yeah, well, it's www.mytravelfreelife.com. That's mytravelfreelife.com. And then you can see on there the different membership packages. And then once you sign up, you get an email with all of the member information and how you access the different benefits. And it's set up online so that you can go in at your leisure and request the vacation destination that you want. So we have like Branson, Missouri, Daytona Beach, Florida. There's Cancun, Mexico. There's Mazatlan. There's Bali, Indonesia. We have destinations in Thailand. So it's just a lot of exciting places to go and see.
So have you counted up how many countries you've been in now?
Well, I've actually only been to a few countries because I have spent a lot of time traveling all over the United States. So I've been probably, you know what, I need to count again because I've traveled some more, but we have 50 states and I believe I've been to at least 40 of them.
I think that's fabulous. Well, if you ever want suggestions on what to see in the 10 you've missed, I know I've been there because I've been to all 50. I'd love to help you out. But I've lived overseas plenty of times, and so I've traveled around there too. This is just so amazing, all that you've done. I call you the businesswoman extraordinaire. And besides all of this that you're doing, you host 3 major radio shows.
Yes, I have hosted the shows in the past. I'm going to be preparing to host a new show after I release my next book, which is going to be coming out very soon. It's a book, of course, to help entrepreneurs achieve success on automatic or, autopilot, rather. Go ahead.
It's just incredibly fabulous. We would all like to know more right after our next break. This is our last break. Stay tuned to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You on xzbn.net and knowthename.com. Now, after the break, we're also going to find out what Deneene, or Dee as she goes by, has in her name that has assisted her that you just might have in your name as well. Stay tuned.
They are here, and they've been here for thousands of years, making their presence known in the shadows. They might be seen by a lonely motorist on a deserted road late at night, or by a frightened and confused husband in the bedroom he is sharing with his wife. But who are they? What do they want? Why are they here? Perhaps most concerning, has the government been aware of their presence all along? The new book by Ellie Marzulli, UFO Disclosure, the 70-year cover-up exposed, delves into the world of UFOs. Can full disclosure be soon? Order now and receive a free hour and 37-minute DVD on the UFO phenomenon. UFOs are real. Get both the book and the DVD, a $40 value, for only $19.99. To order your book and DVD today, go to lamarzulli.net. That's LAMARZULLI.net.
So I was watching the X Zone TV channel last night when I was abducted by aliens, and they kept repeating to me over and over again, simultv.com, simultv.com.
What's simultv.com?
That's what I asked them. They had it written on the side of their UFO.
How do you spell that?
UFO.
No, I mean simultv.com.
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 Right. simultv.com.
Interesting that you were abducted by aliens in a simultv.com UFO last night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I remember now last night I was awakened from a deep sleep. My great-grandmother was standing there. She said she come from the hereafter to tell me about simultv.com. She even spelled it out for me.
simultv.com, sonny boy.
simultv.com.
simultv.com, sonny boy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, you'll never guess what my psychic guru just told me.
simultv.com.
Exactly. Are you guys psychic too?
Of course.
We all know about simultv.com. simultv.com.
Welcome back. I'm Sharon Lynn Wyeth, and you're listening to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You. Now, our guest tonight is Deneene Collins. She goes by Dee, and her website is successcreationacademy.com. Now, she's taken her skills to a level where she's able to help people in so many different areas. You've heard about two of them, from her books and helping people get published to being able to travel and not spend a lot of money while you're doing it. So during this time, we had just started talking about her radio shows. Now, one of her radio shows is called the Soul Food Radio Broadcast. And that's because Dee loves to cook, and she displays this love of cooking, you know, for the culinary arts on her Innovative Life cooking show, where people know her as Delicious. So talk to us about how you got started with this radio show and cooking, and how did that all come about?
Well, I've always loved to cook, and when I was a little girl, once again, going back to my childhood, my roots, I had an easy bake oven, and I don't think I ever played with any toy I ever had as much as I did my easy bake oven. So my mother would cook, and she would give me a little bit of what she was cooking so that I could make it in the easy bake oven. So I grew up cooking from scratch and just loving food and making people happy, you know, delighting their taste buds with culinary delights. So I would always have, you know, company come over, and family and friends and people request various dishes that I specialize in. And so I decided to start putting it online one day, and I went on Facebook Live. And since people called me Dee, I said, you know, I think I'll just be Delicious. And so Delicious comes on, and I give people tips and tricks on how to cook, and different items that they can make, and ways that they can make food very enjoyable, from the bad indulgences to the very healthy light foods and everything in between. So that's how I started with that. And I have a small following, and people, you know, they ask me, when are you coming on again? And people that I see in person that see my live broadcast, when I see them in person, they'll walk up to me and say, hey, Delish, what do you have cooking?
That's cute. That's very cute. Now, one of your other radio shows is called And God Said, and that's because you're an ordained minister, even though you kind of don't tell that to very many people. Of course, I'm now spreading it everywhere. And that's because you don't want to be branded as religious. You'd rather be considered spiritual. But talk to us about what happens in And God Said. Are you using just a Christian base, or are you using including all the faiths or multiple faiths, or how does that one work?
Well, actually, And God Said, that's a radio broadcast that I did a long time ago in Houston, Texas. So that hasn't been on the air for quite a while. But what I do is I do speak on a regular basis at churches. Like I'll be speaking the second Sunday in April at the Rising Star Baptist Church in Tucson, Arizona. And then we do a live stream broadcast, so people will be able to tune in from all over the world to listen to that radio broadcast. So even though I speak at different churches that are of different faiths or different denominations, basically I keep everything Bible-based. Like I said, I am a very spiritual person, but I really like to teach the different stories that do come out of the Bible, and just to deliver it in a way where there's a new revelation on it, help people get a new perception on things, and really, really inspire people. So I try to use those different stories and teachings in the Bible to bring it current to everyday life, and in a way that people can actually use it where it's practical and where they can be inspired and encouraged.
I just think that's fabulous. And I feel like a lot of people have their ministerial licenses that don't say anything, but literally again went after that for themselves because they wanted that piece of knowledge.
Absolutely. It was funny because I was at a mastermind to millions event, and I got up the last day to say something, just some different thoughts over some things that I had seen over the last 3 days. And it kind of just pours out of me. I wasn't, preachy, but there was, you could feel the spiritual things. And I, made some comments or some relations to some things in the Bible. And it was so hilarious because this one woman that was in attendance, she came up to me afterwards and she said, I felt like I just been to the best church service on earth. And this was at a business seminar. And another lady was like, girl, did you just preach the Sermon on the Mount? And I was like, well, I wasn't trying to, but so be it. I mean, if you received something from it, if it encouraged you, if it inspired you, then hallelujah.
I love that statement of yours that procrastination is the theft of dreams.
Yes.
I mean, I'm still hearing that in my head, even though you said that toward the beginning of the show. Because it does. If you keep procrastinating, nothing's going to happen.
That's true. And I have allowed procrastination to steal so many things from me that I decided one day, you thief of procrastination, you're not taking another thing from me. You're not taking another dream, another mission, another goal, another success, another victory. I will not allow procrastination to do it, and which is why I push myself. And actually, a term or a phrase that I coined is, don't make excuses, make progress. So don't make excuses, make progress. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, did you know that procrastination shows up in your name? And how you can tell if procrastination shows up in a name is if their middle name has stronger, more dominant letters in it than the first name. And when the middle name is stronger, that's the name that those qualities, those characteristics that we become when we're under stress. Okay. And so if that's the stronger name where you get more done, like your middle name indicates you become the workaholic, incredibly organized and very efficient when you're stressed. And able to get to stress so that you become more efficient and you become working harder, then you procrastinate, and that pushes you into stress, and that pushes you into being able to use those gifts and talents. And so one of the things that I always suggest, if that's the case where your middle name is stronger than your first name, is that if you give yourself false deadlines that are earlier, and then you'll get under stress sooner, but you're not really under stress, and therefore it doesn't affect the physicality like real stress does, but you still get that adrenaline rush, and you can get underneath that piece of that part of you faster and get that done sooner.
Woohoo! Now I know why I set my clock 5 minutes fast.
Dee, if you could change one thing about people's understanding or how they look at the world, what would that be?
Let me see. How people look at the world. Well, what I would say is develop the ability to be able to see something from someone else's point of view. Because we get so locked into our own view sometimes that we have tunnel vision, and it can cause us to miss out on some very important things and some very important experiences in life. Now, also, I think that people, because they do get locked into these things, that sometimes they don't want to launch out or take a risk. And you may never receive something great in life if you don't take a risk, but people allow fear to paralyze them. So what I would say is, look at things in a different way. Don't look at something as, well, what if I fail? Reframe it and look at it as, what if I succeed? Because if you fail, you can always try again. But what if you succeed? What will happen? So I would say reframe your thoughts, be able to see things from other viewpoints, and be open and willing to take risks.
I love that. And that shows up in a name right away if it's easy for somebody to see things from other people's points of view. And that's what I call the middle letter is an E. So I'll just throw out that freebie for you guys. If the middle letter is an E, so it's not the first vowel, it's not the first letter, it's not the last letter in the first name, but the E sits somewhere else in the middle. Those people it just comes naturally to be able to see things easier from somebody else's point of view. Well, Deneene D, I just love this. Thank you so much for taking your time and joining us today. It's been a sheer pleasure having you join us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been great being here. And I just wish you much success in every area of your life. And just thank you for what you add to me and to everyone else.
Bless you. Be prepared, be surprised, be pleased when you get to experience Dee Collins' work, and really going on the website that is for mytravelfreelife.com and get to travel for a whole lot less money. I think anybody would be smart to do that. Her other website is successcreationacademy.com. Now, Dee's name excels at being intuitive, at being able to speak with people and know exactly what they want and read between the lines. And anyone who has two E's next to each other in their name has that ability. So besides the name Deneene, which is her birth name, or the name Renee or Kathleen, those are all names that have the EE together. And that means that they're very intuitive and they can read between the lines. The other one that we mentioned is that being able to be generous and give away your time. And that's when your first name ends in an E, and that's what causes that to show up in a name. So do you know where your genius lies? I'm Sharon Lynn Wyeth, host of the radio show, Know the Name, Know the Genius in You, which is heard every weekday at various hours right here on xzbn.net radio and X Zone Broadcast Network, and on my website, knowthename.com. Tune in every week. And if you wish to learn how to read a person's name, come visit us on knowthename.com. This is Sharon Lynn Wyeth signing off.
If you are looking for a safe, zero-calorie natural option to the harmful artificial sweeteners on the market today, Just Like Sugar is what you're looking for. Just Like Sugar is a wonderful natural alternative for those health-conscious people who choose a calorie-restricted diet with a great, pure, sweet flavor that tastes just like sugar. Just Like Sugar is a great natural option for people suffering from diabetes and may be useful in restricted diet programs where standard sugars are not allowed and does not cause a laxative effect of some other sweeteners. Just Like Sugar comprises a perfect blend of chicory root fiber, natural calcium, natural vitamin C, and Just Like Sugar's sweetness comes from the natural flavors from the peel of the orange. Just Like Sugar is a natural alternative to harmful artificial sweeteners and will change the way that you believe all natural sweetener products taste. Just Like Sugar is available at your local Whole Foods markets, Wild Oats markets, Henry's, Sun Harvest, and many other fine natural food stores in the U.S., Canada, and worldwide. They are here, and they've been here for thousands of years, making their presence known in the shadows. They might be seen by a lonely motorist on a deserted road late at night, or by a frightened and confused husband in the bedroom he is sharing with his wife. But who are they? What do they want? Why are they here? Perhaps most concerning, has the government been aware of their presence all along? The new book by Ellie Marzulli, UFO Disclosure, the 70-year cover-up exposed, delves into the world of UFOs. Can full disclosure be soon? Order now and receive a free hour and 37-minute DVD on the UFO phenomenon. UFOs are real.
Get both the book and the DVD, a $40 value, for only $19.99. To order your book and DVD today, go to lamarzulli.net. That's LAMARZULLI.net.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X Zone, sci-fi, and horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.